The Pittsburgh Steelers fan base remains on high alert as the Aaron Rodgers saga continues to dominate the headlines. The name of the four-time NFL MVP is still very much in the mix behind the scenes in Pittsburgh, and things heated up once again after a fresh statement from team owner Art Rooney II. During recent NFL owners' meetings, Rooney reiterated something he first said back in early April, that he's willing to wait a little while longer for Rodgers. While the phrasing is nearly identical to his earlier comments, the fact that he's repeating it now with organized team activities around the corner has reignited speculation across Steelers Nation. Let's be honest, this isn't just smoke. When the man at the top of the Steelers hierarchy speaks, you listen, especially when it's about a potential Hall of Fame quarterback joining your franchise. Rooney didn't try to hide the fact that talks have been ongoing. In fact, he hinted that Rodgers is still sending all the right signals about wanting to come to Pittsburgh. According to Rooney, they've been hearing consistent feedback suggesting that Rodgers is open, even enthusiastic about the idea. He made it clear, though, that if the move is going to happen, the team will prefer it to be sooner rather than later, ideally before the start of the team's off-season program. And that's the big detail here. Steelers OTAs are set to begin on Tuesday, May 27th. With that date fast approaching, fans and insiders alike are wondering just how long the Steelers are willing to keep the door open for Rodgers. Reports are now emerging that the team might be okay waiting until early July before they hit the panic button, which gives Rodgers a pretty decent window. But let's be real. If he's not signed by the end of mandatory minicamp on June 12th, it's fair to question whether he's coming at all. Why? Because from June 13th to the start of training camp in Latrobe in late July, there's nothing on the calendar. No OTAs, no minicamps, just a quiet stretch where players typically train on their own. That's a solid 6-week window with no required team activity, which could be exactly what Rodgers is waiting for. If his goal is to skip the voluntary workouts and jump straight into the more meaningful parts of the preseason, that's the perfect time for him to put pen to paper. But if the calendar flips past mid-June and we still haven't heard anything definitive, that's when concern will start to settle in. Fans will start asking whether this is really going to happen or if it's all just been a prolonged tease. Adding to the intrigue, there's been no deadline set by either side. According to multiple reports, including one from ESPN, the Steelers have not given Rodgers a specific date by which he must decide. Apparently, the team's stance is simple. It doesn't matter when Rodgers signs, as long as he eventually signs. That's a gamble, but it's a calculated one. Pittsburgh knows what Rodgers can bring to the table. They know his pedigree, his presence, and what it could mean for a roster that feels like it's just a piece or two away from serious contention in the AFC. And there's another layer to this story. According to a report from Ray Fittipaldo of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, the Steelers are intentionally holding off on making any big moves at the wide receiver position until they know how the Rodgers situation will unfold. That tells you everything. You need to know about how serious the organization is about landing him. Think about that. One of the most iconic franchises in the league is pausing a critical part of its offseason plan because it's waiting to see what one quarterback decides. That kind of patience only exists when you're talking about a future Hall of Famer. Now, why does that matter? Well, because if Rodgers signs earlier, the Steelers can go all in on surrounding him with the best possible weapons. Free agents like Keenan Allen and Gabe Davis are being floated as potential fits. Even some former Packers wideouts like Romeo Doubs or Dontavian Wicks could be trade targets that make a lot more sense with Rodgers in the fold. If you wait too long, those options might disappear, snapped up by other teams or off the market altogether. That puts the ball squarely in Rodgers' court. If he really wants to give himself the best chance to succeed in Pittsburgh, signing sooner rather than later helps everyone involved. Of course, until that happens, everything remains in limbo. The idea of Terry McLaurin being traded to Pittsburgh sparked some buzz after a report came out that he missed a practice during Washington's off-season workouts. Some fans took that as a sign of discord between McLaurin and the Commanders, fueling rumors that he could be on the move. But let's be real. There's almost no chance that Washington lets him go. McLaurin is their top wideout by a mile and remains a central figure in their offensive plans. Unless something truly drastic happens, he's staying put. So where does that leave the Steelers? If they're waiting for Rodgers and McLaurin is off the table, who are the realistic options at wide receiver? Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper are the two biggest free agent names that keep getting mentioned, and for good reason. They're both elite route runners, proven producers, and they would fit right into a win-now mentality that the team seems to be embracing. And if they want to add someone with a connection to Rodgers, guys like Doubs or Wicks make perfect sense. Even a budget-friendly option like John Mechie from Houston could be a sneaky good move. He's still young and might be available for a late-round draft pick. The bottom line here is simple. The Steelers are playing a waiting game, and the clock is ticking. Every day that passes without an Aaron Rodgers decision adds more tension, more speculation, and more questions about what comes next. The longer this goes, the more the ripple effects will be felt across the roster. Not just at quarterback, but at wide receiver, on the offensive line, and throughout the entire offensive identity of the team. And speaking of that offensive line, let's talk about one of the most under-the-radar stories coming out of Pittsburgh. Right now, Zach Frazier. According to Bleacher Report's Matt Holder, Frazier is the Steelers' best-kept secret heading into the 2025 season. After an impressive rookie campaign, he's flying under the national radar, but not in Pittsburgh. Locally, fans and analysts have been singing his praises since his first snap. PFF gave him a grade of 76.8 last year, ranking him 6th among all centers in the league. He only allowed a dozen pressures all season, which is elite production for a first-year starter. When you watch the tape, it's not hard to see why people are high on this kid. He plays with poise, technique, and toughness that usually takes years to develop. If he can take another step forward this season, there's a real chance he enters the conversation as one of the top 5 centers in the entire league. And having that kind of stability in the middle of your offensive line is a massive boost, especially if you're bringing in a veteran quarterback like Rodgers who values consistency and protection above all else. But not everything coming out of the offseason coverage is sunshine and roses. Over at Pro Football Focus, analyst Trevor Sycamore released his rankings of the top 32 wide receivers in the NFL, and DK Metcalf came in at number 24. That raised some eyebrows in Pittsburgh, where expectations for Metcalf are sky high. The team traded for him to be their undisputed number 1 option, and many believe he's more than capable of living up to that title. Sycamore's reasoning? Metcalf didn't have his best season in 2024 and finished with a PFF grade of 75.0. But even with that, he's never posted a grade below 73 in his career and has nearly 90 contested catches since entering the league in 2019. That kind of consistency deserves a little more respect. What makes the ranking more controversial is some of the names placed ahead of Metcalf. Veterans like Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, and Keenan Allen, players who may have had better years in the past but have shown some decline, were ranked higher. Even rookies like Marvin Harrison Jr. made the list above him, despite never playing a down in the NFL. That's tough to swallow if you're a Steelers fan expecting Metcalf to dominate in his new role. There's no doubt that Metcalf's route tree is somewhat limited, but what he does at an elite level. He's a physical monster, a nightmare to bring down once he's got the ball in his hands. His combination of size, speed, and strength is rare, and he's the kind of weapon that can tilt the field in your favor. With Rodgers potentially throwing him the ball, the sky's the limit. This could be the year he proves the doubters wrong and forces his way into that top 15, maybe even top 10 conversation. As we head deeper into the offseason, all eyes remain on one name, Aaron Rodgers. His decision will shape everything about the Steelers' immediate future, whether it's the direction of their quarterback room, the makeup of their receiving core, or the way their offense is structured. It all hinges on when or if Rodgers decides to wear the black and gold. Until then, the waiting game continues. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In what could be one of the most sensational moves of the NFL offseason, rumors are swirling around the possibility of Justin Herbert becoming the newest and biggest signing in Pittsburgh Steelers history. While no official confirmation has been made by either the player or the franchise, several insiders close to the situation suggest that talks between Herbert's camp and the Steelers' front office have intensified in recent weeks, leading to speculation that a blockbuster deal may be imminent. Herbert, widely regarded as one of the most talented quarterbacks of his generation, has long been the cornerstone of the Los Angeles Chargers. However, recent reports indicate that the Chargers may be considering a dramatic reshuffle after years of playoff disappointment, prompting them to explore trade scenarios that could reshape the franchise's future. The Steelers, a team with a rich history of quarterback legends but currently in search of stability under center, seem poised to make a bold move. Sources close to the Steelers organization hint that the team views Herbert as the missing piece to return to championship contention. With a roster boasting an elite defense and a talented receiving core, Pittsburgh could offer Herbert the ideal environment to thrive and finally pursue the Super Bowl glory that has eluded him thus far. The potential acquisition has ignited a frenzy among fans and analysts alike. Some believe that such a move would instantly catapult the Steelers back into the ranks of the league's elite, while others question the feasibility of the deal given Herbert's massive contract and the Chargers' possible reluctance to part with their star quarterback. Still, in the ever-unpredictable world of the NFL, no scenario can be entirely ruled out. Neither the Steelers nor Herbert's representatives have publicly addressed the rumors, adding fuel to the growing speculation. If the deal were to happen, it would undoubtedly mark a new era in Pittsburgh and could redefine the landscape of the AFC. For now, the NFL world watches and waits, as the prospect of Justin Herbert donning the iconic black and gold jersey remains one of the most tantalizing storylines of the offseason. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.